Check this.
Hello, hockey fans, and welcome back to Off the Post. I'm your host, Kyle Savage, and today we'll be covering Game 3 and Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Boston Bruins and St. Louis Blues. Like I said, I had military duty this weekend, so I could not record Game 3 after that game was over. But before we dive into that, be sure to get the TuneIn app to listen to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com wherever you are, and listen to this podcast, as well as follow me on Spreaker and Twitter at IIVTechII. But let's go ahead and jump into the meat of things. Let's cover the first game of my two-game kind of thing here of Game 3. Boston wins 7-2 against the Blues in a game where it was all Bruins. I think it was more of Bennington had a bad night than the Bruins were better than the Blues. I mean, I think the Blues personally have been better in this series. I just think that with the lack of experience of Bennington, really doesn't help out the Blues in certain situations. I mean, he gets pulled. Jake Allen goes in. Jake Allen only faces 4 shots, and he lets in one of those shots on a power play. And that's another thing. The Bruins had a very good. I mean, they were 4 for 4 on their power play, so that's something to keep note of down the line. I know in Game 4 they didn't score at all on the power play, and that's an issue. But still, I mean, Bennington faced 19 shots and saved 14 of them, so he let 5 goals in. He let 5 goals in, and Jake Allen had an empty net goal, which doesn't really count. He just looked really bad, and he did bounce back in Game 4. Jake Allen did replace him, but they had that power play opportunity there right at the end, and Jake Allen just kind of let that one in. I don't know what the deal was with that one, but I mean, the Blues did a very good job there towards the end, getting under the Bruins' skin, because Blues had 5 power play opportunities. They only cashed in on one of those power play opportunities, which was a good thing for them. That was a bit of an icebreaker. I think this was more a reality check. I think if the game was a lot closer, I don't think that the Blues would have played like they did tonight in Game 4. But we'll just kind of run through. Like I said, it's gonna be a very quick overview of the Game 3, just because I was doing a radio show in Chicagoland Sports Radio with a couple guys called Cheap Seats, and I went straight there this morning, get all the information I needed. They didn't get over until 5, and that's all in Chicago, and I should only live like an hour away, but with traffic and all that, it takes up to an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I just got home in enough time to type up this first portion of it and then turn around and watch Game 4. So I'm just going to kind of go over each team, what they scored, who scored, who they were assisted by, and so on and so forth. So we'll go over the Bruins first. Goals from Patrice Bergeron, his 9th of the postseason, assisted by Krug and DeBrusk. Charlie Coyle, his 8th of the postseason, assisted by Johansson and Heen. Sean Kuraly, his 4th of the postseason, assisted by Normstrom. David Pastrnak, his 8th of the postseason, assisted by Krug and Pershan. I'm apologizing for that. Because that's the next one. Torrey Krug, his 2nd of the postseason, assisted by Marchand and Bergeron. There we go. I got it. It takes a little bit for it to click. Noel Achari, his 2nd of the postseason, assisted by Normstrom and Coyle. Marcus Johansson, his 4th of the postseason, assisted by Krug and Clifton. Goals for the Blues was Ivan Barbashev, his 3rd of the postseason, assisted by Sanford and Steen. Colton Parenko, his 2nd of the postseason, assisted by O'Reilly and Bozanic. Team stats here: Bruins had 24 shots on goal, Blues had 29. In the face-off dot, Bruins had 56%, Blues had 44. Bruins were 4 for 4 on the power play, Blues were 1 for 5 on the power play. Bruins had 16 penalty minutes, Blues had 14. Bruins had 29 hits, Blues had 35 hits. Bruins had 19 block shots, Blues only had 7. Bruins had two giveaways. Blues had 7. Tuukka Rask was 27 from 29, a 931 save percentage. 2 goals against. Jordan Bennington 14 of 19, a 737 save percentage and 5 goals against. Jake Allen was 3 for 4, a 750 save percentage and 1 goals against. The 3 stars were Patrice Bergeron, was the first star. Second star was Torrey Krug, and third star was David Pastrnak. Now, I know that's a lot to kind of go through, and I ran through it really fast, and maybe it sounded like I was reading off, but the one thing that has really shocked me so far is the ability for the Boston Bruins to block shots, but yet they don't hit the net often. I mean, 23, 24, 21, I think were all the, shots on goal that they had in the first 3 games. And that's an issue. The reason that's an issue is you have a rookie goaltender. And, it's not like the Blues defense is spectacular. I mean, it is. It's good. They swarm to the puck very well. They don't give Boston many opportunities to get those shots and get set up along the lines of that. But here's the issue you should still be able to hit them. There's plenty of opportunities, and you're not seeing it from the first. I mean, the first line showed up in game 2 or game 3, but it's hit or miss. There's no consistency there. And that's going to lead into a bigger issue than it needs to be. If you want to win this series, you're going to have to get more than, I would say, close to 30 shots on goal a game. And if you can't do that, you're not going to win. This may be a battle back and forth. It may go to game 7, but in the end of it, the Bruins are going to be tired because of the hits. They're taking close to 45 to 50 hits a game, and that's going to run you down. And you can't let that. I mean, it's the Boston Bruins. You know them for their hitting abilities. Yes, they have speed as well, but you look at them and go, that's like the only team in the East that's really big on heavy hit, maybe besides Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh did that. They have that very good combination of hits and being speed, so they can play both sides. But the Bruins aren't stepping up to the plate when it comes to hits. You have to be able to make those big hits, and you're not getting any. You are, but you aren't, in a sense. But we'll go ahead and move into what we just covered, what we're covering tonight, and that's Game 4 in St. Louis. Right off the bat, 43 seconds in, Ryan O'Reilly scores to open up the game. That's his 4th of the postseason, assisted by Sanford and Dunn. And you're like, okay, yeah, that just opened up a little bit. And Tuukka Rask only gave up 1 goal this evening that was on a really bad rebound, and that ended up being, I believe, the game winner by O'Reilly. But there's got to be a way to help protect Tuukka Rask, and they're not doing any of that. They're not protecting him one bit, and they're just allowing the Blues. Okay, let me retract that statement. They're blocking shots, but they're not blocking. They're blocking shots. And how am I wording this to where it makes sense, where it's a good but a bad thing at the same time? They're blocking shots, but they don't ever get out of their zone. That's what I'm trying to say. So you can block as many shots as you want. But if you can't get out of your zone, you're going to be tired, you're going to be banged up, you're getting hit all the time, this and that. And Tuukka Rask has to, stand on his head. He has to do all this other stuff, and you're not helping him out one bit. You're running into an issue there. That's going to be a big, huge issue that they're going to face, and they can't let that happen. It's simple as that. You can't let that happen. It needs to be addressed. And also, at the end of my podcast, I have a little letter to the Boston Bruins as far as what they need to do in order to win this series, because at this point, Blues may just run away with this. I mean, they may have built that confidence after getting demolished and coming back and saying, oh, we can battle back and forth in this, but they may end up running away with this. But at 13-14 into the first, Bruins answer by Charlie Coyle to even up the score. At 1, it's his 9th of the postseason and assisted by Chara. And we'll get into a little bit of a char here too, because he did go out in the second period, I believe. But at 15:30 into the first, Blues retake the lead by a goal from Vladimir Tarasenko, his 11th on the postseason, assisted by Petrangelo. There we go. And Shen, Blues up 2-1, end of the second period. Or well, it should be the first period. I don't know why I had the second period, but that's the end of the first period. Team stats: shots on goal 9 by the Bruins, 13 by the Blues. No penalties on both sides. Face-off percentage: 52 go to the Bruins and 48% go to the Blues. Bruins had 4 giveaways and Blues had 6 giveaways. Bruins had 16 hits and Blues had 24 hits. The first period, there was no penalties. Couple goals, but the hits are with the big thing for the Blues was they struck first, and they were out of the box. They stayed out of the box. They made huge hits at key points too. I mean, there was a couple goals that led from big hits. And that's what I mean, but for the Bruins side of it, they needed more pressure on Bennington. They didn't do that. They didn't calm the Blues at all. They didn't, get the Blues to the point where they were frustrated and they're making stupid penalties. When they didn't convert when they didn't have any penalties in the first period, there's an issue. That there's something wrong. Either the Bruins are doing something wrong or the Blues are doing something right, because the Bruins are known for a team that gets under your skin, and if you can't get under their skin, unless the Blues coach is like, hey, listen, guys, we gotta be smart about this. We can't be dumb. We gotta be smart. We gotta play our game, but be smart at the same time with it. So there could have been that talk. We're gonna have a couple days off, but that was just a big thing for them was to get all of that. But really what the goals were, there weren't really any clean goals at all. They were more of rebounds. And that just shows you that on the rebound side of it, that the defense or the goaltenders aren't really putting themselves in situations to prevent those from happening. And that needs to kind of be addressed on both sides as far as that. But we'll go ahead and get into the second period. At 16:53 into the second period, or I should say at 16:53, At 16:53, Shen shoots a puck and it bounces off a Chara's stick and hits him in the face. He goes out for repairs. And we'll get into a little bit of discussion on that one because he does come back in the third, but he does not have a single second of ice time after that injury. But at 5:47 into the second period, we have our first penalty of the night. Would be on Charlie Coyle for high sticking on Carl Gunnarsson. Bruins killed it off. And at 8:31, Blues had their first penalty of the game by Colton Parayko. For delay of game. Blues killed off. They looked deadly on the power play, though. They set up pretty well in that moment, but they also gave up a very, very good shorthanded opportunity to the Blues, and it was going to the 5-hole, and Tuukka just got enough of it and caused it to go wide left of the net, depending on which way you're looking at it. If you're looking at the net, it went right. If you're looking from behind the net, it went left. But he just got enough of that, and then at 15:53 into the third, Connor Clifton gets a penalty for illegal checking to the head on Vladimir Tarasenko. And a little bit after that, a shorthanded goal from the Bruins by Brandon Carlo, his first of the postseason, assisted by Bergeron and Marchand. It's all tied up at 2 now. Bruins get a shorty and kill it off. Blues had a great opportunity, but Rask and the penalty killer stepped it up for the Bruins. That would end the second period. It's all tied at 2. Shots on goal were Bruins 10, Blues 12. Bruins 0 for 1 on the power play. Blues 0 for 2 on the power play and gave up a shorthanded goal. Bruins 4 penalty minutes, Blues 2 penalty minutes. Bruins 49% in the faceoff dot. Blues 51% in the faceoff dot. Bruins had 12 block shots. Blues had 3 block shots. And like I said, anything from the shots on goal, these are all combined. But still, when you are the Blues and you still only have 3 shots on goal, or 3 blocks, and Bruins have 12 blocks, that's showing that the Bruins are more unlikely to way to get into the shots, or that means that there's a lot of more time on the Bruins end, and they're forechecking, they're back checking, their D-men aren't getting the people off the puck and getting the puck down the other side of the ice, unlike the Blues, where they only have 3 block shots. So that either means that they're missing opportunities, or that, the Bruins can't get set up, or that the Blues just don't want to get in front of anything. There's many ways to go with that, but Bruins had 6 giveaways, Blues had 9 giveaways. Bruins had 29 hits, Blues had 32. So the hits kind of went down a little bit in that period. I think with the penalties, it was kind of going back and right. But really what it comes down to in that one was the special teams came into play in this period. Boston commits 2 penalties, but Bruins also get a shorthanded goal. It was a very intense period. Both teams hitting, going at it. It was Blues period, but, the Bruins come away with a goal. And Blues didn't. Blues forecheck is good. Boston's ability to block shots is key reason why they're still in this game. It isn't a blowout. And it's helping out Rest to keep the puck out of the net. Bennington looked like he rebounded. I mean, he did rebound very well in this game, but we'll go ahead and look into the third. Chara returns in a full face shield after getting hit in the face from a shot from Shen, right? But like I said, he did not play a single second. He didn't touch the ice. Well, he did touch the ice on like a TV timeout where he came out and was like, hey guys, we got this, team support, blah, blah, blah. But I'll get in my frustration after that. But at 2:08 into the third, Bruins get another penalty on Dayton Hinn for tripping on Jaden Schwartz. Bruins killed it off. Like I said, Chara's still on, hasn't had a shift, hasn't touched the ice. At 6:42 into the third, Bruins get a penalty from Jaden Bomeister, high sticking on Charlie Coyle. Blues killed it off, even though they gave up 4 in the third game. The Blues penalty looked very good. They did. They were back to the Bruins would try to get to the line and they would hit them off the puck. They had to go, dump and chase, and they had a very good mentality of, you watch a lot of, power penalty kills and the puck goes in the corner and you have one guy kind of go after him and the other 3 guys kind of stay back and try to control the situation. But it was like they were all pressuring on it. There was, 1 to 2 people, and I think Boston needs to pick up on it. I think they need to adjust their system. I think they are trying to play behind the net where they don't need to play behind it. I think it needs to be more in the perimeter and maybe trying to get a puck to the corner, but shifting someone over to one of the slots to where they can pass the puck through, because they're very slow on that aspect of it. I think they don't have a game plan for it. I think they just kind of go, but hey, yeah, whatever happens, right? We'll just kind of chip the puck in, whatever, how that works. So I think, Cassidy needs to come up with a better game plan, or whoever runs their special teams need to come up with a better game plan of how they may attack it. They may need to look at game 4 or game 3 and say, hey, how did we, score 4 power play goals? And we were scoring 1 and now we didn't score anything. I think they need to think about that a little bit, more, and get back to how they were in the first 3 games, getting under the Bruins or the Blue skin a little bit there. But then at 10:38, Blues get a rebound. They get a rebound goal from Ryan O'Reilly, his 5th of the postseason, his 2nd in the game, assisted by give me a second on this. He was assisted by Gunnarsson and Perangelo. I know I'm gonna say I was reading this out and I'm like, I got it. Now I'm gonna go speak for it and I can't speak. So it's one of those things. Raskus pulled for an extra attacker at 1:45 left in the third. Empty net goal by Braden Shin. It was unassisted. His 4th of the postseason. Bruins couldn't set up a extra attacker opportunity. But then at 30 seconds left, Rask gets pulled again, and then at 19:47 into not 19:34 into the third period, Torrey Krug a slashing on Jay Bouwmeester. Then Jay Bouwmeester gets a penalty for elbowing on Torrey Krug. So that minuses out those. It was 4-on-4 for the rest of the time. But that will end game 4. Blues win 4-2. We'll look at the stats here real quick. Shots on goal in the third. Bruins 4, Blues 13. News shock there. You ain't gonna win a game if you only have 4 shots on goal in the third period versus versus team having 13. Overall game stats: Bruins had 23 shots on goal. Blues had 38. You need some help there. And your goaltender's facing dang near 40 shots a game, and you're giving the other guy less than 25 shots a game. There's a major issue there. Bruins in the faceoff dot 48%, Blues 52%. Bruins had 2 power play opportunities, did not cash in any of them. Blues had 3, did not cash in any of them. Bruins had 8 penalty minutes, Blues had 6 penalty minutes. Then Bruins had 41 hits and Blues had 44 hits. So the hits were even and the shots weren't. So the Bruins need to put 2 and 2 together so they can walk away with the victory, because when I talk about this next stat, you're going to be like, yeah, if they really put all those together, they won't lose out, because the Bruins had 15 block shots and Blues only had 7 block shots. That's a key right there. That means your team's willing to get in the way of pucks. Or that means your team doesn't have the ability to shoot the puck. Right? They can't hit the net, and that's going to be an issue. If you can't hit the net, obviously you ain't going to win any games. And that was another I want to bring up real quick. The Blues do a very good job of, I would say, hitting Bruins players and with the puck, and the puck going the back of the net. I know there was a couple in Game 3. I think Game 1 there was a couple of those. But maybe the Bruins need to take a page out of that playbook, because if that's working, then that's a pretty good opportunity you got there. You know what I'm saying? That's something that you may need to look into, saying, okay, we may go wide, but that means the Blues are putting the puck in high traffic areas that you think, oh, that's just going to go on the other side of the ice, but it ends up hitting someone, and it kind of shows that Boston's they're not seeing the puck very well. I guess you would say the defensemen aren't seeing it. If that happens, that means, one, you're not seeing the puck, knowing where the puck's at all times, and it's hitting off of you and going in. So that that maybe needs to be something that needs to be addressed. But what can you do? It's over what it is, but you just need to look at it and say, all right, we need to change plans here. But Bruins had 6 giveaways, Blues had 9. The goalie stats, Tuukka Rask was 34 of 37, a .919 save percentage with 3 goals against. Jordan Bennington bounced back, a 21 to 23, a .913 save percentage with 2 goals against, 3 stars of the game. Ryan O'Reilly, second star of the game. Alex Perangelo, and third star of the game was Zach Sanford. So my thoughts: Blues helped out Bruins bounce back from Game 3. They controlled the entire games besides the one hiccup they had on the power play where they gave up a shorthanded goal to Boston. The Blues bounced back, after losing 2 games where they get basically kind of blown out. They come back and win. So that's kind of it's kind of odd. I don't know if that's going to be a trend, because if that's a trend, then if you Blues, you may want to change that up right now. But if they can win Game 5 in Boston, Boston's gonna have a very tough time winning the cup, because I don't think that Boston will be able to pull it out. I don't think they will be. I don't think that they will have the ability. I think they are a team that gets down on themselves a little bit, that are like, we're not going to win this, and that's going to be an issue. If you can't have the ability to go out and win a game, or have the confidence to be in that game, then yeah, you're going to lose. But let me go ahead and talk about the Boston Bruins. And here is the letter I wrote. Dear Boston Bruins and Bruce Cassidy, can you help out Tuukka Rask? Or do you just want to lay down and let the Blues roll you over every game? Yes, the series is tied, but they're out hitting you. They're out shooting you. Heck, you give them enough power play time to win a game. You lose Chara, and you put him in the third period for what? Moral support? Newsflash, this isn't regular season. It ain't rec league. It's the freaking Stanley Cup Finals. He is one of your best defensemen. And guess what? You need him to play. You lost 2 games because you lost defensemen. You lose Chara and you lose Grzelcyk. You lose those 2 and you lose them in a game, and guess what? You lose. So, that means you need to play him. Now you lose game 4 because you didn't have your defenseman. Get your stuff together or watch the Stanley Cup get hosted up by the Blues. Yours truly, Kyle Savedich. If I'm wrong, you can say, hey, you're wrong. You can comment down below, Twitter or whatever, and say, hey, you're wrong. But that's the truth, though. Tuukka Rask carries you through... He carries you through round 2 against the Blue Jackets. You kind of help him out with the sweep of Carolina, but now you're into the meat of it. You're in the game. You're finally in it, and you can't help him out. You have issues. There's got to be something else that you need to work on. But like I said, I can't say this enough. When a team has a great goaltender, right, who pulled them for the first 3 rounds all the way to the Stanley Cup, right? And you can't support him. The Blues had 7 blocked shots in game 4. And you only had 23 shots on goal. While your defenseman had 15 blocked shots? Are you freaking kidding me? Hit the freaking net. Tuukka Rask is facing 38, 40-something shots a game. It means the offense can't hit the freaking net. And yes, the Blues do swarm like mosquitoes, especially they did tonight. They attacked the Bruins every time they had the puck. But when you're facing a rookie goaltender, what is the key thing you want to do? You want to put pressure on him. He has never been in this situation. He's a rookie. Even if it's the first time a goaltender's been to the Stanley Cup Finals, he hasn't been in that pressure situation. Or any kind of playoff experience, to that matter. He hasn't been in that pressure situation, so that means you need to put pressure on him. If you don't put pressure on him, you're not going to win a game. You can't just allow him to say, oh, I'm only going to face 23 shots. This isn't the minors, all right? This is professional hockey. That means you're at the top of what you need to be. In your position on that team, you're at the top of that. You need to find a way to put more pressure on him. You have to. But I'm going to leave it there. We're going to wrap it up off the post. Don't forget to get the TuneIn app. Listen to Chicagoland Sports Radio wherever you are. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at IIVTechII. Like my Facebook page at IIVTechII Podcast. Follow and comment below of off the post on Spreaker. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, whenever you're listening to this, and hopefully catching the next podcast. I'm Kyle Svetch, and this has been Off the Post.